Early February, and we're feeding a bit of fodder beet to the cattle. Lovely. Hang on a minute. Quite edible. Very sweet. The cows love it. And in the first film we were chucking it out across the field by hand. The cows were eating. I'm feeding this now at the moment to some smaller cattle over there. Jonathan's just gone with a wheelbarrow load. Chuck it in the feeder. They go mad for it. It's really nice and sweet. Very, very good for them. Feeding a bit of that with a bit of rolled barley and nuts to make them grow. Works very. Oh, that's Charlie. Is that Charlie? Yeah. Yeah. This is Charlie. Is what do you describe yourself as?
Failed musician.
Well, there you go. You see,
aspiring farmer.
That's better. An aspiring farmer. So Grandad's got just up the road. David Western is Charlie's granddad, and got a little farm up the road with some sheep, etc., etc. Yeah. And he's encouraging Charlie to be a farmer. Hopefully. And when I was talking to him in the lane, he said about buying some calves, so hopefully Charlie might end up with some calves in a month or two's time when I start getting the new calves around about middle of March. And he will possibly buy half a dozen or 10 or 50.
However many. Maybe not 50.
So where's your farm?
So it's just up the road at a place called Pit Hill. Right. About 5 minutes away. So.
Yeah. And you at college at all or anything?
So I went to college for 3 years. I did music.
Oh, not farming?
No, not farming. So I did music for 3 years. I did my level 3, then I did my level 4. Then I decided for a little bit of a switch up. So I've always helped my grandpa down the farm. And then we looked into getting a few calves. So we called Speedy, or he called me, because it took a while for me to call him. But he called me up. Then he offered me a job. So I've been here about 2 weeks now.
Yeah. Third week this week, isn't it?
Yeah, third week, I think. But just been teaching me all about cows, tractor driving, bit of everything. But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's good fun, yeah. Something like that.
Magic.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, chuck it out in the yard here and the cattle.
Hello.
We're just going for a spin in the ladder and we just stop and have a look at the pigeon problem up the road. So this is my neighbouring farmer. So the poor old farmer has planted his oilseed rape And it seems to be a very, very common problem this year. And it's the fact of the matter that the pigeons have got hungry quite early in the season. It's not unusual that they come and attack, right? But they are attacking it big time this year. And they are absolutely stripping the fields. As we can see, this field in particular, now whether it ever recovers or not, I don't know. I think drilling it, spraying it, slug pelleting it, possibly throwing a little bit of fertiliser out in the autumn, and then the pigeons come and eat the lot. And they just strip it, so that leaves it. So obviously now the greenery is shredded off of there. The plant doesn't work properly, but that should all be a lovely big green leaf, 3 or 4 of them there, and they just shredded, as you can see. They are shredding the crop. And if I had to be honest, I'm a little bit jealous, because Charlie has actually come to work on a tractor that is, well, if I have to be honest, a bit nicer than my old thing. So this is Charlie's granddad's tractor, and it is a Fordson Dexter, which is a lovely little model and extremely popular in their day. I mean, obviously Charlie's granddad has had it done up fairly recently, within the last 10 years, and it is now as pretty as a picture. And Charlie obviously enjoys driving it around as well. And I think Charlie's elder brother is on camera somewhere with it on our South East Hants Young Farmers Club tractor run, because I remember following him to the tractor run in this, and he had a whale of a time. So yeah, that's. But he's come to work. He brought it to work just to rub my nose in it.
Oh, it's quick. It's quite nippy.
Power steering?
No. It's quite hard to steer, but I think it goes about 22 miles per hour, which isn't too bad.
So we're just tagging the calf. So this one was born last night. And if you don't get the tag in it fairly quickly, as you can see, he's less than 24 hours old and he doesn't really want me anywhere near him. So unless you get the tag in fairly quickly, you could spend quite a lot of time running around the field after a small calf. It's actually a she, it's of a girl. So there you go. So I had to make sure that I had the right mother. So this is its mother. And so this is the calf, and we just decided. So now we have to register that calf with the British Cattle Movement Service. We have to send details of the mother, because she should already be on the system, on our holding. And now we have to tell them that she's had the calf. That's her second calf, actually. It's that one, not that one. So these are the suckler cows that we started a couple of years ago. So originally these were all calves born at Manor Farm, Exton, when I was rearing calves for Chris Martin. So I would buy the Angus bull and heifer calves from him, and so these are all females that come from home originally. So these are all hand reared on the milk feeder, so they're all fairly friendly. They know me fairly well, so they're not too wild. Couldn't be dealing with wild cows. And then when they got to about 2.5, 3 years old, we put them in calf with the Aberdeen Angus bull, which is here somewhere. A pedigree Aberdeen Angus bull bought from Angus Stovall, just north of Guildford, who is one of the oldest registered pedigree breeders of Aberdeen Angus in the country, I think. So he's got an exceptionally good herd, and he's on our doorstep to buy a pedigree bull from, which is good. I have to be a bit careful about the mother, because, you know, she's a bit protective. She's not too protective, and she doesn't really want me touching her baby calf. And now he's telling her that he's just had an ear tag pull in and he's not very impressed, but they'll be fine. Yes, and up and running and drinking well. That's all. It's a good sign that everything is fine. Having a wee, having a poo, just making sure the body is working correctly. There you go. It's all important things that's telling me that calf is probably fine. And if you look at her udder, you can see that one quarter is a bit lighter than the other, and so that tells me that the calf has already had a drink. So they need to be up and drinking quite quickly, within the first hour of birth, hopefully. So there he goes. They need the colostrum inside them quite quickly. Ideally, I think it's about 2 litres of colostrum from the mother within the first 6 hours of life, but preferably within the first hour of life, because they don't get any antibodies to protect them from any disease and infections unless they get the colostrum. So a vet described it to me once as it's sort of like a born AIDS sufferer, because it has no immunity to anything when it comes out, and it doesn't get any immunity until it gets the colostrum. And people don't always realise how important the colostrum is. And then within 24 or 48 hours, the colostrum changes to milk. Because when you milk, if you got hold of her and milked out and looked at it in a bucket, it looks like yellow cream. But it is absolutely full of antibodies and goodness for the calf. And then her body adjusts and then it becomes milky. And so that calf will live with its mother now for the whole of the summer. It's February now, middle of February. And she will live with the mother until it's about 8 months old. And then by then the mother will be fed up with it by then. It's kind of like, that would be like breastfeeding a teenage child by then. And so she's usually quite glad to see the back of it by then. And then hopefully she should be in calf again, because the bull is running all year round. And so it starts again. So hopefully she'll have 1 calf a year, like they all should do. And they're looking lovely in the sunshine. So we're still giving them a bit of silage. We're propping them up. We've got a reasonable bit of grass here for them. We actually only put them in here about 4 days ago, otherwise they were over the road where they've been for most of the winter. There's another one over there, was born probably 3 or 4 days ago, 5 days ago. I think that's one that I haven't actually managed to get a tag in yet, so I'll have to surprise him early one morning. But sometimes you can creep up on them, but when you creep up on them and you grab them, they usually go "Rah!" and then the mother comes running, which is fine. You can, if you have a tag in the calf and the mother's trying to attack you, she probably won't be. None of these would attempt to attack me, but they can be protective. Just keep the calf here between you and the mother, if you've got to go, because she won't attack you through the calf. So keep the calf between you and the cow. It almost sounds like I know what I'm doing, but I don't know if I do or not. So this one here, unfortunately, she had a calf that was very small and it didn't survive. And so then we sort of have to think, well, do we then attempt to make her have another calf, give her a foster calf? So we have to take her into the yard and sort of like attempt to make her rear an orphan as it is, but she wouldn't go much on it unless she's a particularly good mother. And it seemed like it could make a lot of work for me, all rather unnecessarily. The other problem is, when her calf dies, she obviously then has an udder full of milk. Well, hopefully she's got enough intelligence, because we leave the calf with them for 24 hours when it's dead, or I do, just to make sure that she really knows that the calf is dead and it's not coming back. And I think it sends a signal from here, the small brain that they've got, to there, to tell the milk to dry up. And her udder, although it's a reasonable size still, she's dried up very nicely. But you'll just have to live now until you get in calf again. If I was a brutal, proper farmer, she'd be gone really, because she's going to be sat around here now for a year doing very little and costing me money. But she's a bit of a character, this one. And so Charlie's across there in the distance today, just springtime harrowing. So that's where the cows were. So they had quite a lot of space to run. They had 45 acres there, and that's where they spent most of the winter. But obviously they've shaved all the grass off And it's a bit more about levelling the ground where they've poached it and made holes with their feet where it's been a bit wet over the winter. Not a disaster because it's quite free draining ground. Just levelling it off a little bit, pulling a little bit of dead grass out if there is, but there's very minimal. And a bit of a, well, I call it a turd scattering exercise. So scattering the dung piles and stuff, because obviously when it does a poo, it's sort of like, and it's much better if they're scattered around a little bit. And then in a day or 2 or 3 we might roll it and throw a bit of fertiliser at it and get it growing again for the spring. And it all looks lovely in front of the big house there. It's for sale if you want it, 4 million. Comes with a really, really nice tenant farmer. Stevie is the pet cow. She is a very, very, very friendly Jersey cross. So another one that originated from Chris Martin's. So she's had 1 calf. And then last year she decided she didn't want to have a baby, so she didn't conceive. So she had a year off. But we couldn't get rid of her because she's the pet cow and she is extremely friendly. But now luckily she is in calf. And you can tell from just by the size of her udder, she is literally due any day really. And Stevie, the pet cow, has calved. So she has had a nice little bull calf. And yes, it all went very well. Did everything on her own. So that's the pet cow because she didn't calve last year. This is her second calf. She's about 4 or 5 years old. So she'll suckle in now nicely. And Stevie's calf has got a name. He's a bull calf and he's called Lily, which is slightly unusual. But I thought, well, we've got it a bit wrong on Stevie because Stevie is female and she's got a boy's name. So the boy calf had to have a girl's name. And because it was born on my mother's birthday on February the 19th, we have called him Lily. And that is also the day as my auntie, who I never ever met, but I sort of seem to have this sort of slight fascination with in Ireland, who was killed indirectly by a bull. So she was taking the milk to the creamery one day and he stuck his head through and threw her out of the cart and hit her head on the road and then she died. She actually died on my mother's birthday many, many, many years ago. I'm kind of hoping she might attend the party on the 20th of September. I think it'd be quite good fun if we had Stevie just sort of wandering around in amongst all the people for an hour or so, just to show how friendly a cow can be. And I think she would look good with a hat on. You're a good girl, aren't you? Hey? And she does like this. She does, well, like all cows do. She loves this, because they can't really get to scratch their own back. She'll raise her tail up because it would be so nice for her. If you can't pet a cow now and again, what is there in life? Goodness me. Hey, Stevie. That's good fun. And so mainly Aberdeen Anguses, apart from the dairy crossbreds that you can see, but the All Blacks are Aberdeen Anguses, which is a very good breed, a very extremely popular breed in the United Kingdom and worldwide. And so fairly obviously originally bred in Aberdeen in Scotland. Most people, the general public included, can usually name me one beef breed. They can usually come up with Aberdeen Angus. And so sometimes that will happen. So you get older calves, and obviously as they get older, they think they should have some more milk. So that mother has not got twins. That is definitely, they are not both her calf. I think the larger calf is her calf. So the one that's going in from the back is obviously a bit hungry. Perhaps his mother's milk has dried up or is drying up, and he obviously thinks, oh, I'll have a bit. And they will see another calf drinking and they will come in and nick a bit. Which the mother doesn't really want, but she kind of puts up with it. She was trying to chase it away just now. But he goes in from the back because he's a lot less likely to get kicked. So I'm guessing it's the smaller calf that's nicking the milk. But cross-suckling is kind of like, yeah, it happens later on in their life. And we got the saw out the other. We did a bit of tree lopping. Allegedly there's a bit of a story behind this tree, I think, because when all the D-Day troops were stationed in and around the big house and out towards Pembroke and in the surrounding area, which they were just before D-Day because they all wanted them close to Portsmouth, for a quick getaway down to Portsmouth when the word was said. And I'm fairly sure there is a story that the King visited, stayed in the big house with General Butler, or his predecessors' ancestors, and when the word was given for D-Day, the King was probably stood somewhere here, and troops were mustered, and he gave a speech. So I kind of call this the King's Tree, but it's a little bit past its sell-by date, and if you look closely, we limbed a few bits off the other day, and it is past its sell-by date. It's pretty old, and you can see I think water damage is coming down through. I mean, we sawed that one off. It's like a great big load of compost in there, yeah, we try and keep it off the tractor roofs. So we've just been to retrieve the Massey combine, the mighty Massey 27 from Micheldever. So we finished harvest up there last year. There's a little bit of barley that I harvest for a friend of ours, an Irish chap actually, who was my lecturer at Sparshot College, and actually comes from his hometown, is the same town as my mother was from, in Clonakilty in southwest Cork. So we know William very well. And so we've retrieved the combine. Obviously we were going to get it back the next day in September after we finished, but we didn't, and then 5 months later I thought I'd better go and get it. So we went there in the winter and drained the water out so it doesn't crack the block, and got it going and away we go, brought it in, and here we are passing Holly's Engineering. So I've just left it, I'm going to leave it here on the way back through, because hopefully they're going to be able to do a little bit of mending on it, nothing drastic. So we're back in Chris Martin's yard where we were getting the calves from many years ago. Good old Chris, good old boy, get on with him very well. And so she's actually up for sale, the mighty 27. It's on Facebook actually, if anybody wants it. So we've had all our fun with it, I think. So we've grown the barley for the last 5 or 6 years. Probably actually a little bit cheaper to buy the barley now, but we've learned a lot about combining. We've had great excitement driving the combine and moving it and mending it. We've learned stuff how to mend combine harvesters. So it's yes, it's been a good learning curve, and there's great excitement because just about to get on an aeroplane. So me and Lucy Bailey, day after tomorrow, we're going to Ireland. To Cork, where my cousins live, on the farm, on the family farm where mother was born. We're going over there for a few days to see the cousins, and we're not going for a suntan because you don't go to Ireland to get a suntan, so we will take a raincoat. Might have a bit of Guinness, who knows, and see the cousins. So plenty of cousins, and they're all still farming over there, and second cousins too, and a couple of them sort of agricultural contracting and tractor mad, and one of them is, I call him like a Michael, I think he's a second cousin. He is a second cousin, he's my cousin's son. Like a mini Chris Martin, so dabbling with 3 small dairy herds, but they're not small, they're 100 cows each. One of them a very nice Jersey herd supplying some very nice creamy milk into the local yoghurt factory in Clonakilty. And 2 other crossbred dairy herds, all calving around about this time of year, so he will be hectic when we get out there. There'll be calves everywhere, and grass should be growing, and hopefully he'll be turning a few cows out and milking plenty.
And this will be the end of February?
And this will be the end of February, yeah, February, a nice short month.